night everything broke apart for good, Marcus Hale was sitting on the hood of a rusted Toyota behind Benny's auto shop, the metal still warm from the engine, sharing a bottle of cheap gin with the man who had been his best friend for over 20 years. Welcome to Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. For returning viewers, thanks for sticking to the channel. Ethan Cole drank straight from the bottle and laughed too loudly, the kind of laugh that echoed a second too long and said more fear than humor. "You ever think about how fast it all ends?" Ethan asked, staring up at the buzzing orange streetlight. "Like, one minute you're kings of this block, next minute you're just another story nobody tells right." Marcus forced a chuckle, but his stomach was tight, twisted into a knot that hadn't loosened in days. "Man, you always thinking like that," he said. "Relax." Ethan turned and looked at him closely. "You're shaking." Marcus looked down at his hands. They were trembling, knuckles pale. He clenched them into fists and shoved them into his jacket pockets. "Cold," he lied. What he didn't say, what he couldn't say, was that 2 hours earlier he'd been sitting in a gray interrogation room that smelled faintly of burnt coffee and disinfectant. A recorder blinked red on the table. A detective slid photographs across the metal surface like cards in a losing hand. Photos of a gun wrapped in plastic. Photos of cash stacked on a greasy workbench. Photos of Ethan laughing, unaware, frozen in time. Then the sentence that split Marcus's life clean in half. "We can charge you both, or just him." Marcus and Ethan grew up 2 houses apart on Maple Street. Same cracked sidewalks, same flickering streetlights, same sirens screaming through the night like lullabies for kids who learned early not to sleep too deeply. They were inseparable. Skipping stones at the creek, sharing stolen candy, running from security guards at the mall, breathless and laughing like they were invincible. When Marcus's dad walked out, it was Ethan who stayed late, sitting on the front steps until the porch light burned out. When Ethan's mom worked double shifts, Marcus's house became his second home. They promised each other at 14, sitting on a roof under the stars, "We're getting out together." Ethan was always the bold one, charismatic, reckless, fearless in a way Marcus envied and feared. Marcus was the thinker, the planner, the one who cleaned up messes and made excuses sound reasonable. So when Ethan started boosting cars with a small crew, Marcus told himself it was temporary. When Ethan pulled him into Benny's auto shop to just handle the books, Marcus told himself numbers weren't violence. The money helped. Rent got paid, his mother stopped crying over overdue bills, and then came the night everything went wrong. A deal with a rival crew turned sour. Words became shoves, shoves became fists, fists became gunfire. Marcus remembered the sound most, the way shots cracked through the air like wood snapping in half. He remembered blood soaking into the alley pavement. He remembered Ethan's face afterward, pale and stunned, whispering, "I didn't mean to." Nobody died that night. But 2 days later at 6 in the morning, police kicked in Marcus's apartment door so hard the frame split. Guns, shouting, handcuffs biting into his wrists as his mother screamed his name. They charged him with conspiracy, armed robbery, accessory to attempted murder. The number echoed in his head when the lawyer said it. 30 years. His mother collapsed in the hallway. That's when fear stopped being something distant and became a living thing inside Marcus's chest. Detective Rowan never raised his voice. He didn't threaten, he didn't pretend to care. He just told the truth with the calm of a man who had done this too many times. "You're not the muscle," Rowan said, tapping the file. "You're the structure. Juries hate that. They think you're the brains." "I didn't shoot anyone," Marcus whispered. "No," Rowan agreed, "but he did." He slid the cooperation agreement across the table. Marcus stared at it until the words blurred. "Think about your mother," Rowan added gently. "Think about 30 years."
That night, Marcus sat behind Benny's auto shop, listening to Ethan talk about the future like it still existed. New business ideas, moving states, starting fresh. Marcus said nothing. By morning, he signed the agreement. He told himself it was survival. He told himself Ethan would understand. He told himself loyalty didn't matter if you were buried alive in prison. He told himself a lot of things. When Ethan was arrested, he called Marcus from jail, his voice raw with disbelief. "They said you talked," Ethan said. "Tell me they're lying." Marcus opened his mouth. Silence poured out instead. The line went dead. That sound, the click, haunted Marcus more than the gunshots ever did. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Marcus testified from behind a partition, his face hidden, his voice filtered. He spoke carefully, mechanically, as if distance could make betrayal less sharp. He never looked at Ethan, but he felt him, felt his presence like a weight pressing into his spine. When the verdict came back guilty on all major counts, Ethan didn't scream, he didn't curse, he didn't even cry. He turned slowly, eyes scanning the courtroom, stopping at Marcus's empty seat. That look, confusion curdling into understanding, was something Marcus carried for the rest of his life. 25 years. Prison broke Ethan faster than anyone expected. Marcus heard through whispered channels that Ethan kept mostly to himself now. No more laughter, no more stories. 3 years in, Marcus learned Ethan had been stabbed in the yard. He survived, but something in him never came back. Marcus tried to write. Every letter was returned unopened. He moved cities when he got out early, changed jobs, changed routines, but he couldn't change himself. 12 years after the trial, an unknown number lit up his phone. "Ethan Cole is deceased," the voice said flatly. "Overdose, prison infirmary." Marcus sat on the edge of his bed for hours, the phone still pressed to his ear, listening to nothing. The funeral was small, closed casket. Marcus sat in the front row, hands clasped so tightly his fingers went numb. He didn't know why he was there, only that not being there felt worse. Ethan's mother stood at the podium, eyes hollow, voice steady in a way that broke something inside Marcus. "My son wasn't perfect," she said, "but he was loyal. He loved deeply, and he trusted the wrong people." Marcus flinched. When the service ended, he stepped forward, resting his hand on the polished wood. "I was afraid. I'm so sorry." No answer came. That night, Marcus finally told the truth. He wrote everything, his role, his fear, his betrayal. He mailed copies to the court, the detective, and to Ethan's mother. Then he turned himself in. The judge listened in silence. "Why now?" she asked. Marcus swallowed. "Because living free cost someone else their life." 5 years. Marcus accepted it without appeal. Prison at 45 was different. Marcus volunteered, taught math, sat with grieving men who pretended not to grieve. One night, a young inmate asked him why he was really there. "I betrayed my best friend," the kid said, nodding slowly. "That's heavy." "It should be," Marcus replied. When Marcus was released, Ethan's mother stood outside the gate. She handed him an envelope. Inside was a photo of 2 boys on a roof, smiling like the world was theirs. "I don't forgive you, but my son believed people could change. Prove him right." She walked away. Marcus cried openly, unashamed. Now, every year, Marcus visits Ethan's grave. He cleans the stone, leaves flowers, tells the truth out loud. Some crimes never stop punishing you. Redemption doesn't erase them, but sometimes carrying the weight honestly is the only way to keep living. This is Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. Subscribe for more emotional true crime and redemption storytelling, where every scar tells a story worth hearing.